Hey y'all, it is April the 26th, 2020, 2024, and tonight we done hit the Macho Mania a little bit too hard. I have no idea what we're getting into. But I wanted to holler at y'all, and I wanted to check off my live streaming from my daily to-do list. If I cut off the live stream right now, then it don't even matter because I already live stream. I can check it off the list. All right. Yeah. But also, I thought I guess, come on and see if like anything's exciting happening here on the internet. What's it, Friday night? It's not gonna be nothing exciting. Nothing. All right, but I gotta let y'all know behind the scenes, it's been a little bit of a change up. I actually, right, and I'm not gonna actually even tell you all the details. It's like a situation of like, get stuff done, get work done, right? Go ahead and get to work on it, and then after stuff has been established and set up, you need to tell everybody what you did at that point. So, for the moment, I'm going to keep it on the hush. Keep it on the hush. And I'm not going to really reveal all the details. What the hell I'm talking about? This mystery, these mystery developments. But I can say, and I will say about this channel, and it's actually going to be pretty difficult, to be quite honest. Not really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of tedious work. I got some tedious work ahead of me, which is all right, man. Sometimes you got to do some tedious work. Okay, so for example, without being too revealing, I would like to say I'm going to get into some stuff, and I've already had progress into delving into a certain situation here on the internet, right? Or even in the real world. You'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm talking about later. It's an idea that I actually had damn near a year ago, shortly after my recovery. While I was recovering from all that stuff, man, it gave me some pause to think and ponder, and I had a number of ideas. But one in particular, and I think it's about time. I've just been getting confirmation, basically, through the universe. And I can't really share that with y'all. I'm just saying it's like confirmation, right? You ever think about a decision? I don't know if it's ever happened to you, or you thinking about it. It's like, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I pull the trigger? And then you're thinking about it, and maybe you're like me, and sometimes you get a little bit spontaneous. Sometimes it's a little bit unreasonable, and you say, "F it, dude! I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do what I said do." I've already made my mind set, and it might be childish, and it might be uh, like an uneducated thing to do, perhaps. But it don't even matter because I'm going to do it anyways. And I got confirmation throughout the universe that I need to do it, and I need to do it right now, and I need to do it real, real hard. All right, so I'm going to need that blood flow. All right, for my cardiovascular, I'm gonna need some of that nitric oxide boost, if you know what I mean. Um, Now, the reason I bring it up is because on this channel, without getting into too much of the detail, this channel gonna remain all right for as long as the foreseeable future. And of course, man, we're gonna get into some wild stuff. We've been getting into some wild stuff lately, but it's gonna get even more wild, I'm sure, zany as World War III develops. Right, but I'm gonna take the cue that I'm sure a lot of people have done here, especially on YouTube. There's this one lady in particular who, from what I was understanding, she was doing it and she might still do it. And I'm not sure if she still does it or if I was just tripping. But more or less, what this lady did was she, threw out content and throughout, getting her face out there with various people on the internet. She was able to build a following. YouTube.com. She was able to build a little bit of a following, and I like to catch her from time to time. I think she's very intriguing, and I like her services. Basically, she's some Middle Eastern lady, or at least of that ethnicity, and she likes to talk about the red pill type stuff, how the world has gone crazy and America is flipping and tripping. I would agree. It is. I'll see if I can find her right now. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find her right off the top. I'm gonna have to maybe peruse through my channels, subscriptions, and maybe find it. But anyways, okay. So her format, unless I'm mistaken, basically, after she got a little bit of a following, she went ahead and put a lot of her videos probably on private, or deleted them. The reason is because you leave your videos up, which is what people typically tend to do. You leave your videos up, and that's just pretty much fodder for any random troll or any kind of robot to come around, say, "Oh, you said some bad words. You said the N word. I'm gonna have to take you down." So it's like if you delete all your old videos, not too many of the people who are following you are gonna even check for your old videos. They're checking for your new videos. And so, I never prepare before the stream, but there is a lady, and I can't really. I got 2,000 million subscriptions, and it makes it to where I can't find anything at all ever, right? But that's basically, for the most part, what I think she was doing. What I think a lot of people do, in order to kind of circumvent being censored so hard, because the robots have a hard time keeping up, but it's just like if somebody brings it to their attention, you leave it up on your YouTube long enough. I don't know about y'all, but I got people who will like check out, like just random people will come and check out like a 6 year old of mine, and they'll leave a comment. I guess the little comments that I'll actually find out about it. I'll be like, what? Somebody left a comment on a video that's 5.5 years old. And I gotta admit, I don't even answer those comments anymore. It's such an old video, and it's like, just, accept that you're not gonna be responded to. Basically, not gonna be responded to. On a check how old the video is. Well, I don't know. I appreciate people for leaving the comment, but I'm definitely not gonna reply and stuff. Gonna do that. All right. So that's going to be kind of arduous. We're going to make this a pretty short, I guess, broadcast tonight for the most part, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to like get into the mindset and the mode basically of this crazy, boring, tedious thing to do. Or basically, I'm going to, for the most part, delete most of my videos in time. Oh my God, I'm going to have to do it one by one, I'm sure. But my channel, I already know, has like well over 1,000 videos, and of course maybe keep some, but like privatize them and stuff. All right, privatize the videos. And one thing I wanted to do was have a little fun tonight, sorta. Might as well check out some stuff. Well, like for example, what's going live here on Rumble? What's happening live here on Rumble? I don't know if I do that. I don't know. We're gonna do that. Let's check it out here for a second, because the internet's like not even working here up on my tablet. It's like going in and out. It's having terrible, terrible difficulties, and they're having a heart attack over here. But I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think anything's gonna work right now.
It's not the
Right
fake
now.
lectern, dude.
I don't
No,
think
they're
it's.
actual agitators and provocateurs in there. They were let in, and now you've been forced to burn them. FedEx is next. There's footage of the federal cameras, by the way, watching. FedEx is being surveilled. Oh, that's weird. It's breaking news. It's revealed that the Capitol Police cameras were tracking Ray Allen. Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
I want to go ahead and
Holy shit. I think
show you what I'm looking at.
the election, there's some massive blow-ups that are going to get dropped with January 6th. They're really going to fuck the official narrative up, and maybe they'll have more of their own assets, but we'll have to see. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolute. Thanks, back
There it goes.
the same thing. 2002, Golden said the rabbit holes are endless. The only one I found.
So we're on Rumble, checking it out a little bit. First guy up, Salty Cracker. All right, he's become very, very popular, I've noticed. And for good reason. You know, I heard he's 6'8". And I never would have expected that, but all you only see his head, really, in the videos. He's over there talking about January 6th. And you know which January 6th I'm referring to. All right. You know, there's always going to be more developments and stuff like that. More and more details are leaked. And he's talking about Ray Epps, and he's talking about this and that, the government knew, stuff like that. At risk of being on YouTube and oh man, they wouldn't like this. It's like, okay, yeah, the government had everything to do with January the 6th. Pretty damn well obvious. The only thing about it is more and more details come out, and it just makes it more and more obvious. That's all it's gonna do. And as you probably well know, there's people who don't believe it. And at this point in time, they're never ever going to believe it, no matter what you show them, what kind of evidence and stuff like that. And it's just kind of clear that it's a schizophrenia taking place. You know, there's plenty of reasons why America ain't going to continue. And it doesn't make me happy to say that. America, what a lot of people refer to as an experiment. And I gotta say, yeah, it really, really, really was. You think about it. As far as like recorded history that we have, you compare America to like pretty much any other country, and most other countries are at least way more homogenous. To be quite simple with people, they're just way more homogenous. So in that way, you know, America was an experiment. And a lot of people would argue that it got up to such echelon, perhaps the top echelon of countries and stuff. And it had a lot to do with various factors to include diversity of it all. The diversity of, obviously, of thoughts and beliefs. Way back in the freedom or liberty to go ahead and do what the hell you want to. All right? Don't apologize for it. But as if you're not committing a crime. So it's a hell of a experiment. It was the greatest. See, that's just how it played out. People think, oh, that's forever. No, it's not forever. I don't know if anything here is forever, except for Jesus needs to be forever. God forever. That's what it seems. But you know, America, God bless it. God bless it. But it's definitely got a schizophrenia for sure. Like, because I'm sure throughout history, people more or less had to acknowledge reality and then perhaps discuss their interpretation of reality of what everybody agrees is the facts of a situation. Now for a long time we've been in a situation in which people they're not in the same reality. They're in actually very, very, if not opposite, different realities. And it's like schizophrenic. It's in a schizophrenic stage of nature. Is the country? It's going to come back from schizophrenia. I don't know how many people come back from schizophrenia. All right, and then like how many people come back from schizophrenia if it's being encouraged? If the schizophrenia is being encouraged. I don't know. I figure we might want to check out like a couple more people and see what the hell they're doing online. Got a very, what it seems like a weak signal, an almost not even usable signal. But the next person up on Rumble Live was these guys on a channel called 1730 ON8, which is not a good name for a channel. I don't know how anybody would remember that. But that's the name of the channel. They're having a live stream thing that they're doing. Like, man, I love Ohio's for Lovers. Anyways, hold on one second. I was just, I don't know, I'm cruising through these channels. And there's one live stream, whatever it's called Emo Night. And it's it's titled Emo Night: April Showers. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know if I want to know what that means. See, they said they were playing Hawthorne Heights, Ohio is for Lovers, and I don't know what in the world, or if that's even accurate. I have no idea that Ohio is for that, but I'm pretty sure, like, my signal is just hot, wet garbage. It's not worth anything right now. They go play you a little video for 2 seconds, and then it's absolutely frozen. I don't know why, but we're gonna try one more, and that's it. We're not gonna do anything else. One more, and so we got to be very careful with our choice here before we get very, very disappointed, which we probably will, I'm sure. So let me go to the live tab and let me click it. If I click it, it'll get updated, and then it'll give us all sort of entertainment here on Rumble. All sort of. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go on this one. Why? Because I don't have no time to waste. This one over here, before we get up out of here, is a live going on Rumble right now. And it's interesting. The channel is actually called News Treason. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's like the news in regards to treason, and they want to tell you about it. Or it does sound like it could be treasonous form of news. I don't really get it. But Dr. Scott Young is apparently on live right now, talking about NESARA and the current economic landscape. I'd like to know what the hell that even means. So I'm going to click it. And then, it's not going to do anything. If I click stuff, it's not going to do anything. All right. That's what kind of internet that I live with. It's like a 1997 dial-up type internet. It's not going to really work. Right? No, it's not going to really work. All right. So it was a good shot. I've seen other people do it. But however, I just don't have any damn internet signal. All right, so it's not going to let me do it or anything, dude. The worst. Absolutely zero technology. All right. Like, I mean, I click on a video, right? Doesn't even make it to the video. The ad starts playing. The ad will freeze. The ad is silent right now, and it's just struggling to play. It's taking every little ounce of energy left in its damn near cold, dead, lifeless stream, and desperately trying to play. We got a live stream going. Suppose I have it on mute. Let me turn it up.
Some of the anti-cabal that you would call the deep white hat families. Some of them are New Agers.
People are talking trash over here.
Some of them are Christians and everything else. But here's the thing: they're fighting against, the really sicko cabal. Okay, number one, that's the good thing. They're trying to put their own money. I mean, listen, when you get a rich guy who puts his own money on the line, like Trump has, you have to. I mean, even if you hate or love Trump, he isn't the savior here either. Okay, Trump has put his own company and everything on the line. He could have left. He is an example.
I think this man's making a pretty good point. I wanted to elaborate on it. This Dr. Scott Young, he says, certain people in the game that are putting a lot of money down, a lot of money, throwing a lot of money into this here basket or whatever. And that deserves at least a little bit of reverence. There's definitely people out there, intrepid detectives out there who say none of this is real. This is all a show and this is all professional wrestling. I just want to acknowledge that people are out there and they would say that, and I can't prove them wrong. Okay. But I do tend to believe that there are people out there and they're putting major money down. Right? Some of them, and major money in the game, major skin in the game, to include Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and there's plenty of others putting their money down. It could all be fake and theatrics, but I just wanted to dwell upon that there for a second because, it's very interesting, I guess, to observe the wealth gap, if you will. Like I would say in America, if I had to guess, being in poverty really isn't that impoverished. Not really yet. It's always been a little bit spoiled, all right, to be honest. I know it's bad ghettos and everything. But yeah, man, it's kind of like people are in poverty. People have been in poverty, but man, I hear about some fellas out there, and just even a regular average fella making all sort of money I don't know about. They're making all sort of money I don't know about. But then, like, for example, internet personality. Right before the broadcast, I was listening to a little bit of the Fresh and Fit, and they were having their conference type deal where they had like a whole panel of speakers, and they were like answering questions and stuff for the crowd. And I'm not sure. I'm sure he's not the only one. But there's plenty of rich, affluent fellas over there. Discussing how they could become rich and affluent, how like we could as well, or the possibilities. And one guy, he said, "Man, if I don't do anything at all, if I just don't do anything on average, I'll make about $55,000 a day." And he's not the only one. He's not the one who's balling out the most. That is to say, if these guys ball out, it's like a strata. It's almost like there's no way you could interpret like all the whole. I mean, I guess you could, but it's like a whole damn different world, different universe. There's guys making $55,000 a day, and there's guys who make like $100 a day. There's guys who make less. So it's a very, very big difference. And of course, you know, the poor people typically it's in their nature to feel jealous of these rich people and how much money that they have. But if anything, I would like to stress, wow, you got a lot of money. Well, you certainly have a lot of money to lose, especially if you start going up against, you know, the system trying to hold everybody down. There's some rich guys out there, and you know, to poor people, certain poor people, rich guys all seem obnoxious or something. But I would like to point out and stress that there's some rich guys out there who will do what they can to throw you a ladder. Maybe you could use to climb up. And there's other rich guys out there who seem to be quite interested in killing you, and raping you, and pillaging you. I noticed that distinction between some rich folks. So, so right now, I'm attempting, right? It's just an attempt to play a video, the same video, so we could listen to more. I'm not gonna do it though. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I said that I was gonna do. And I appreciate everybody, but I don't have too much to tell you. I mean, okay, it's World War III, right? I've been saying, right? Um, we're in for all sort of pain and carnage within a year. This way of life that we kind of know is going to end very soon. And from that will be a new way of life. And I've heard a lot of people say the same exact thing. From that, it's going to birth a new way of life that is either going to be better and it's going to involve a lot of pain and a lot of death and carnage on us. And we're not going to like it, but directly after that, the world's going to become better because we're not going to be able to afford to sit around and be as retarded as we are right now. Because of some sort of devastation, that's the thing about it, it's a fork in the road. If we do manage to turn this despicable society around, well, we're not going to do so without consequence. There's people in charge who've been in charge for a long time who are evil as F, buddy, and they would hate to give you an idea that maybe you could bring yourself up out of this muck. All right, so it's going to be pain, death, carnage, all that for sure, and that's the best case scenario. All right, or perhaps everybody, I would say, if everybody, to include myself, if everybody were to stay on the same track or even a similar track, if everybody, for the most part, chooses not to take a radical turn within this year, I don't know what exactly that means to you or to that other guy or to myself. I might have more of an awareness, but it's good. Okay, so the best case scenario, we're gonna die a lot. A lot of us are gonna die. It's gonna be very painful. There's for sure gonna be diseases and food issues, for sure. Um, but that's if we all. That's if a certain critical mass. You could think of just America or maybe the whole world. If a certain critical mass of people, an unprecedented, decides to make a radical change in their life, then I do believe that momentum would be able to get us, like I said, off onto a better foot, which has a brighter future, say for our children, stuff like that. And I must reiterate it, that comes with death and chaos and carnage and all that. And you damn well know where that's going to be coming from. Those are facts. If I had to reiterate them, there's going to be a disease X. Does the YouTube robots want some of this? Does the YouTube robots want some of this smoke? There's going to be disease X. And see, that's why we got to get, like, for example, prepared with the type of things that we know now, at least combat the previous disease that they decided to sprinkle on us. And I'm not even going to get the whole list. I don't remember all the different devious, evil, dastardly things that have been done. We're going to have disease on us. Right now, they're doing everything to stir up. I don't know if you heard about bird flu. Have you heard about it? Bird flu. You might not even have heard about it because most Americans have no idea. But there's some people who do and have heard about the bird flu. And I want you to know. And I want you to quote me on this and clip it out and make a short of it even. This whole bird flu, that's definitely an excuse. And I'm not the first person to say it. All right, I'm not taking credit for this. The bird flu is definitely an excuse to kill off all sort of chickens. And they'll kill off cows and everything else too. The word doesn't matter. What matters is if you're scared of it. And then they start killing off the food supply. The food supply was already struggling. And so they're gonna find bird flu up in everything and kill as many animals, bury them or whatever, just to make sure that the cost of your food goes way up. That is if you can find food, and I'm talking about that they're doing this on purpose. Meanwhile, from here until the foreseeable future, I'll tell you what, I'm going to chug. And I already started today. And I used to do it earlier, and I thought I would take it back up for as much as I can afford it. For this whole bird flu pandemonium that they're going to be bringing out of the closet like whenever they want to, whenever to get you all riled up. They're going to say bird flu and then kill like 10,000 chickens with PCR tests that we already know don't work for anything. All right, I mean, that's not the purpose of a PCR test. All right, and meanwhile, every single day I'm going to chug 6 raw eggs. All right, because here's the thing: for all their pandemonium, wouldn't I be the first person to die? I'm going to be the first person to die. Your bird flu thing, right? I'm over here chugging raw eggs. We're gonna be the first persons that die, right? We're gonna find out for the bird flu, but the list goes on and on. They're gonna crash that dollar, all right, one way or another. They can't even help but crash the dollar at like a certain point because they're in confidence. They got a president who's nothing but a meat puppet up there, and like the dollar is gonna go down. So it's like, man, I'm trying to dip my toes into the cryptocurrency world, just so that I know about it because the dollar's going down. Period. Just to have knowledge of this and that about how crypto works. A lot of people would say, hey, certain situations you wouldn't want crypto, like for example, the grid. If there's having grid situations, electricity, and all this. It's kind of risky a little bit, especially when the government could come through and say, "Hey, you're a criminal. I'm going to take this." They steal an election. They just be like, "Now you're a criminal. I'm taking this crypto." And hey, the dollar, whatever. We got a new crypto, a CBDC for that ass, and you're just going to have to take it. That's their plan. I don't know if they'll pull it off, but that's the thing about it. When you really think about it, gosh, I don't want to take too much time on it. I do want to dip my toes into crypto, and I do want to know more and more about crypto because, in a sense, it's the future. And if I'm being honest, Bitcoin seems a lot more just sexy than a dollar. Like it seems like it's more cooler than a dollar. All right. But if we're really being honest, man, how are they going to pull off a CBDC? How are they going to pull that off if they don't basically outlaw the other, the alternatives? I mean, how are they going to do it? You got the other alternatives. It's going to be tougher. It's going to be tough for them. And that's not to say that they couldn't do it, but they also hate your guts. All right. And so they're going to want to try to do something about that. I don't know if they're even capable of doing something about that. But also on a personal note, I like about me romanticizes the Wild West and those sort of times, and it's like, dude, I want to deal in silver coins. I want to pay people and get paid in silver coins. That's just what the hell I want. Right, so I'm going to probably invest more heavily in that personally. I'm not a I'd like to just tell you that I'm not an investment advisor. I don't know if you could tell by my extreme poverty, all right? But do not listen to what I'm saying. The list goes on and on. I don't know if you want to embellish, but there's so many ways in which they want to F us quickly, all right? And I guess my main point was that it seems to me, because we always follow the status quo. That's how this machine works, is because it doesn't get disturbed enough to throw it off a track or a new track. We're out here following the status quo, and especially in America, we got used to it because the status quo is so damn sweet. And if you're not familiar with the status quo of America back in the day, I'm sorry about it. I missed it too. For all these bullshitters and these boomers out here, and they had it so rough and everything, dude. And then in the '80s, people were just having the time of their lives. I mean, people were going all out crazy nutballs. All right, and I missed all that too. I didn't get to see hardly any of that. I got the very tail end of that, and I had to be a little baby and a little child and run around watching everybody else on cocaine and just falling out like Hulk Hogan. Everybody had Hulkamania, and I only got to see the tail end of that. I feel bad about that. And there's whatever else. There's plenty of other ways in which that they want to hurt you bad, like they put a disease on you. They're gonna want people to take a vaccine, ocean, and all sort of other stuff. You know, it's kind of, I don't even want to go there because we're gonna wait here and we're gonna find out. We're gonna watch it all go down. But I don't want to say today that they're going to drop a disease X on us and then totally trick the same exact people into doing the same exact thing. I don't want to say that that's even possible. It's people out there, and I know I'm related to people who have taken like four or five boosters. And it's insane. It's complete schizophrenia because nobody is current, not one person, not one soul in America that I'm aware of. I'm gonna look into it. There's not one individual who's current on their boosters. Can anybody explain to me why nobody is current on their boosters? All right, so they're gonna do it again and all that. Who knows the pandemonium? I don't know what I'm trying to think off the top of my head of the disaster that they can rain down upon us. It's gonna be a lot. It's really not the point. The point is speaking to myself. Maybe speaking to some of y'all out there before we get up out of here. I can't share with y'all the details. I have to admit it's something that could crash and burn. And it might be something that goes by the wayside before it's all said and done. Can't share with y'all the details necessarily, but behind the scenes, and I would imagine fairly soon I could share with you all the details of a radical change that I want to fix and to implement into my life. I want to see if it works. It's a change. It's something. It's trying something new, or not really new, but sort of new, pioneering something that maybe hasn't been done before. Um, and and it's one of those things that I don't think anybody would think very much of it, but a radical change from what I've been doing. It's about time. I mean, in the famous words of Donald Trump to all of Black America, what do I got to lose? I look around and I see all these nice things, and they're all nice, but it's not a lot, and it doesn't even matter. If it was a lot, I don't even think it would make a difference to me. I look at my junk sometimes, and although it's like pretty nice, some of the stuff I got is nice. No matter how nice it is, I gotta admit, frustrates me, and I don't want to say it angers me because I don't think that's accurate, but it frustrates me. And it only gets in my way. All this stuff here, and let's get up out of here, but all this stuff is so nice. And I like it. It's luxurious. And it adds a little bit of classiness to my life. But one could look at the situation that I live in and one could look at it and say, hey man, you're playing it safe. You're over here playing it safe, right? Not doing too much because you don't want to take that risk. You don't want to you don't want to be very risky. Why? Because you can be very risky and then lose all this beautiful stuff, all this making you comfortable. It's all convenient. It's all for your sensation in order to make you feel good. You could lose all this stuff. I ain't risking it. Why risk it? But of course, a lot of people would look at what I have and say, why not risk it? You don't got anything. Freaking insane. And I can see both perspectives. We're gonna get up out of here tonight, but before we do, I want to be candid with some of y'all out there, whoever's listening. It's like, why not make a radical change? You're over here, and yeah, maybe this stuff is nice, but it's like you're over here, in a sense, in a financial sense, what you're doing is you're kind of like you're swimming along, kind of floating. But what's happening is you're getting tired, if you will. If you can think hypothetically in a situation, imagine me in a lake, something, and I'm struggling to stay afloat. And as time goes on, I'm just sinking a little bit farther and a little bit farther, and it's not very drastic, but a little bit farther and a little bit farther downwards. And as you can imagine, with time, that will make you drown, right? Financially, you'll financially drown. That's what I would assume. You gotta never forget up in the building, and it's amazing. Every time I hear from Never Forget, it blows my mind, and I appreciate that. She says the '80s was truly a time of work, hard play, hard in the USA. And I'll have to take her word for it, but it's just like that's definitely been my theory. I honestly don't think anybody ever actively drank water. For a majority of the '80s, nobody even bothered to drink water. and they won't admit it, but I know that mother effers in the 80s drank so little water that I know that after they got done brushing their teeth, I know that they would rinse it out. They would rinse out their mouth with Dr. Pepper. I know that for a fact. All right. They were balling control. The moss and the booster. Oh wait, it says the booster and the mask thing sure wouldn't have happened. Not back then. Not back then. They only try to pull stuff off when they can barely when they know that they can. And so there's a reason why the mask came out and it took so long as it did. It took all the way until 2020. If they could have pulled this stuff off in the 90s, they surely would have. But it just wouldn't have been possible. It's kind of obvious. The thing sure wouldn't have happened, not without fiscal pushback. She also says so that they poison us, 80s people. They poison the shit out of everybody. They've been poisoning everybody for quite some time. Most of us now have autoimmune diseases from metal. And yeah, you hear some of those commercials, especially for the military. Well, all sort of contaminants. They were throwing everything that, gosh, man, believe it or not, because this story goes way, 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 way back, well before the 80s. But in the 80s, they got to the point where they were throwing whatever toxin at the people that they could even think of. And no matter what they could think of, none of them like really had the effect desired. And ever since then, they've been really, really trying to hone in on because it's just very difficult, very, very difficult. The human body is quite versatile, and also it can adapt, and it can take quite a number of insults before it finally falls over with cancer. And they've been working on us. They've been working on us for generations. I know, um, with as wild and reckless as it was in the 80s, I know for in my bones, if you will, that if I attempted to live a lifestyle that was half as um, thoughtless, carefree as in the 80s, I would very much die. I would die, and it wouldn't take very long either. I couldn't handle it. I could barely handle this. Right? So now it's not as wild and rock star, but they've kind of they've honed in the poison. But there's a lot of them. I mean, we're talking about in your water, for sure, in your food, in the air, and then everywhere else. I still don't understand. I mean, I assume that the 5G is killing us, right? But there's a lot of other stuff, and it took quite a lot. But so now, boomers and people who were living the high life all throughout the 80s, yeah, they're experiencing like this lots of times devastating consequences for that sort of lifestyle. All right, it's just that if anything, they should do this. I'm not going to tell them how I feel, but they could feel very happy with themselves that they were able to live such a life of debauchery, if you will, of such what's the word, extravagance. All right, I forgot why we came here tonight. All right, radical change. This is World War III. It's the end of days. I don't know if Never Forgets wants to go ahead and close us off for the night or whatnot. I'll give her an opportunity, but um, it's a very exciting time. That's the thing. And I will remind her just in case if she didn't catch the beginning of the broadcast. Sometimes it's coming in the middle. It's going to take a lot of work And it's especially the type of work that I don't like. But what my plan is to do with this channel, because I want to continue to say wild shenanigans, and I want to do this every day. So I'm going to keep this channel up. But however, I'm going to have to go through the painstaking effort of basically deleting my prior videos, except for like some certain ones that I might keep and just private them. And what this is going to do is hide my content from the damn robots who eventually going to go through all my content and ban the hell out of me and ban me for all sort of other stuff. You know, but still, and I've seen people do it, still upload lives. You can still see some of my recent lives, and then I'll go ahead and delete those and privatize those to mitigate the censorship. All right. And then, you know, that'll help facilitate an environment to do some radical change in. All right. And I'll tell y'all more about that here in a second. This radical change. Or not in a second, but like a few days. Never Forget says, yeah, before the 80s they gave free pesticides. What in the damn world? They gave free pesticides to all the farmers. I don't know if it's, but if she means all at the same time, or if this was like a government subsidized thing, I never heard of it, but I wouldn't doubt it. I remember literally running through cornfields while the planes were spraying poison down. Nobody thought, oh my, that's so. America has been a wild, wild experiment. It's because people can look at us right now. I mean, I think they could technically look at us and say, "Oh man, how are y'all duped into this whole COVID fiasco?" And all these, it's like all these uh, nonsensical things, which obviously did not bolster anyone's health. I mean, I don't know who would ask that because I've seen other countries in which they broke themselves off even worse. But it's like we've been living this life in which you just don't have a second thought. If someone doesn't explicitly come to you and say, "Look, this is poison. It'll kill you dead. It's gonna give you any number of cancers, and you need to stay away from it." If they don't say that, then like it's assumed that it's just like pixie dust, and it's like the most wonderful thing. We just wallow around in asbestos and everything, like because they didn't say it was dangerous, so we don't give a damn. That's pretty damn interesting to think. That's always been the case. I think into the future, we got to get up out of here. Frogs will be gay. Hell no. Nah. See, coming around, never forget coming around with all this damn conspiracy talk, talking about the frogs is gay. I wonder if the frogs are getting even more gayer. Because more time is going by, are more frog communities getting all gay and disappearing. The frogs will get gay when they spray them in the cornfield. I wonder how much they exactly knew the science. Did they, I mean, the pilot does not have any clue. But there's some scientists, Nazi scientists in laboratories somewhere knowing that they're like, dude, if we spray the children with this enough, get them gay as hell. All right. And then we'll wait a generation and then we'll mangle their genitalia. All right. Never forget. He says, hey, we weren't allowed in the house back then. Oh, hell yeah. You know, I have like vague memories. And it's like, it's vague memories. And I'm sure I could talk to some children in poverty somewhere and maybe they could relate. Or I'm guessing they could relate. But of course, what's referred to as normal children these days. You wouldn't have any clue like what Never Forget is talking about right now. Like as a child going into the house and then adult people looking at you and telling you to get the hell out of here. All right. And even if you don't know where to go, it doesn't matter. Close the door behind you. Get the hell out of here for the whole day. And that seemed to be the method of a lot of parents back in the day, and that's not the method these days. I can't imagine it is. I don't see any children hardly. The children I do see, though, I see them on scooters, electric scooters, and it's the way of the future. I endorse the electric scooters. Weren't allowed in the house. Weren't allowed in the house. You know, God, I'm gonna not share many details of this radical change I'm talking about because, quite frankly, it could crash and burn, and then I'll have to go to Plan B. Right? And then it's like, why even tell y'all? But the thing is, God, go outside. Um, this whole broadcast has been kind of pointless, probably me just rambling, just practicing for when I do actually have a good broadcast. But it does remind me and stuff, and I'm gonna try to do it. Even in the San Antonio 100-degree for freaking 3 months heat. I mean, I'm talking about like damn near 100 straight days of 100-degree heat. I want to get outside. I've been outside. I want to keep being outside. I want to get more outside. All right, because I love it. And then, of course, find out how being outside might even make me some money. Never Forget says, "Oh, you're making me feel sentimental." For back when parents didn't have any incentive to know where you were at during the day. She said, "You're making me feel sentimental." Damn it! Get out of here! Get out of here! So I've been told to get off the internet. And who would I be to rebel against that? We need to get off the internet right now and perhaps wind down for some of us and get ready for tomorrow. Because if we see tomorrow, better conquer tomorrow. Why are we conquering? I don't even, not even financially. Why are we just conquering every day? How come we're not conquering? Lay us down and get a little bit of rest, some conquering, or even maybe do some conquering right now. It's World War III. I'll have to holler at y'all tomorrow. And it actually might be early, but I'll holler at y'all about it tomorrow.